right, so next we're going to be adding our different actions instead of rock, paper, scissors. So take a second and kind of think about which characters you're going to want to have in your game. So you kind of have those in mind so we can add those into our code. And the code we're going to use is this block of code here. So creating these 3 variables. Right now it's butterfly, fairy, and mushroom. So I'm going to copy that code and paste it in. And this is where you're going to need to create your own variables. So I'm going to take a second here and add in mine, and you guys should do the same. So kind of just like how we did with our opponents. So instead of you can find the different emojis, name them differently as well. Alright, so for my game, I'm going to do fire, rain, and wind. But you could do different foods, you can do different animals, you can do whatever you want, and it should be different than what I'm showing you. So I can run my code and see now that whatever characters you picked are going to be the actions in your game. And we'll go to the next page. And so now we have to tell it like what things beat what. So I'm going to copy this code and paste it in here 3 times. So now you're gonna have to figure out which ones beat what. So I'm gonna take a second here, and obviously it's having some errors because I don't have butterflies and fairies created as my variables. I have fire, rain, and wind. So take a couple minutes here and set up yours, and I'm gonna set up mine. Alright, so I have mine set up here, and you can see what those are. So I can run my code and test to make sure that it's working how I want it to and the correct things are winning. So water beats, or rain beats fire in my game, so I lost. I can do another one, fire beats wind. Awesome. So it's also going to show us how to add a hidden action into our game. So this one uses love instead of that fire or fairy, mushroom, those example ones at the beginning, and you can do a different one for yours. So I'm going to copy this variable code. I'm going to paste it underneath my other one because I like to keep things organized. And maybe love works in yours, maybe it doesn't. I'm going to choose I'm going to choose just people. I'm just going to choose people. There we go. And I said the name love, I'm going to call it people. Because people can be weather, sure. And now we have to set up the logic behind that. So using this thing that's called an array, which is basically a list. So by using this, we don't have to do individual love beats, or for my example, people beats fire, people beats rain, people beats wind. I can just include it in this list that it beats all of them all at once. And I can paste that in. And I need to change all the names so that they match mine. So instead of love, I want people, butterfly, fire, rain, and wind. And we can run it to test it. And you'll see that the computer now has people that wins over everything. And it's a hidden one, so the human player, you can't get to it. All right. So now if you want to make any changes to your game, but what you should have is that you have your opponent set, you have your prize set, your different actions, your hidden action. And if something's not working right, you can debug it to make sure it's doing what you want it to do. Alright, so last we're going to add in some different game properties. So some different decisions more you get to make with your game. So you should be adding all of these to your game and deciding like what you want them to be. So rounds to win. So how many rounds does it take to win the game? Maybe you want it to be 2, maybe you want it to be 7 or 10. but how many points do you need to win the game? And you'll just copy this and paste it right in, just like you did with everything else, and you can change that number to how many rounds that you want it to win. So maybe 5, whatever you want. So round prize, we already have that in, so unless you want to change that, that one's good. The win round text, so when you win a round, what do you want it to show up on the screen? So copy and paste that, and you can modify it, you're awesome, or whatever you want it to say. The text that happens when you lose, so right now it has a sad face, but you should modify that to change it to whatever you want. Same with the tie. And then challenger text. So this is actually how you can change your avatar for the game. Because right now, without it, what are we looking like? We are just this person, or the smiley face with glasses. So you can change your graphic just like we did with the opponent. So you should be adding all of these into your game and getting those little green check marks next to them, that you have them all added into the setup area where we've been adding everything else. All right, so next we're gonna add a little bit of sparkly winning animation to your game, so when you win. So it gives you this set of code, and basically this is another function that'll run within the game, and it's basically creating a graphic that moves, so taking your player and moving them around the screen a little bit when you win. So I'm going to copy this code here and paste it in. And now you're going to want to run your game until you actually win. So if you have a lot of rounds to win up here, you might want to make it less so it's quicker, so you can see what it actually does. So I'm going to change it to 1 so I can test this out quicker. And I just have to try and win now. All right, so there I won. So this is that little animation. My little character just fades in and then goes to the middle. So let's go back to our little tutorial, and it doesn't feel like enough yet, so let's add some more. So inside of this victorious function that we just created, we can add in some animations, we can scale the player, we can animate the avatar. So you can play around with adding these in to make your winning screen even cooler. So just like we've done before, and you can kind of play around and test to see what these codes do in your game. All right, so after you've added in some of these codes inside of your victorious function, you can run your code and play your game and test it out, make other tweaks that you want, and you can see how you win and lose and all that stuff. It does give you the option to go check out a sample game, so you can click check it out, and you can take a look at their code and maybe get ideas for anything you want to add to yours. So you can run it and it runs just like yours. To get back to your code, you're going to click this little back arrow to get back to that victory animation, and you can add or modify anything in here. To get back to those other tabs where you had other code examples, you can copy and paste. You can click these arrows. This little page, just like before, is how you can kind of go back and modify different things and see what you did and how you learned things. So for turning in your game, what you're going to do is up in these 3 little dots, you can click record movie. And when you click this red button, it's going to record your full screen. All right, so I'm going to show you how that recording works again. So clicking the 3 dots, you can click record movie. And this little red dot at the top is what you'll click to record your screen. So I'm going to actually scroll to the top of my code before I click it. I'm going to click the red dot. I'm going to click record screen. And it's not going to record any sound or anything with it. And I'm just going to scroll slowly through my code so that your teacher can see it. And then you can play your game a couple of times. Hopefully you win so that we can see your winning sequence, or make it so that you can win with just doing like one round to win in your code, so we can see your victorious code and see what that does. Once you're all done, you'll just click that red button again and it'll show you your video. You can trim it or anything, but you probably won't need to. And we'll click done and save. So then that saved it to your photos, and you can see it in here, and this is what you will submit on Schoology. So just like how you've uploaded photos before, you can upload videos, and you can upload this video to Schoology so we can see that you have done all the customizations and see your game work.